News for dumb fucks. And that's an American TV one. Antisocial behaviour is a trait of intelligence in a world full of conformists. The biggest challenge in life is to be yourself in a world that is trying to make you like everyone else. Nikola Tesla. Pineapple juice is 500 times more effective at helping you stop coughing than cough syrup is. Fresh pineapple contains a substance known as bromelain, a specific type of enzyme that has anti-inflammatory characteristics which can combat infections and eradicate bacteria. You see, we don't need all this pharmaceutical shit. We have natural remedies given to us by the Creator. With all those medals, you would think they would guard their own effing place, wouldn't you? Medals for doing nothing as well, by the way. Free speech has been eliminated from the United States to protect Israelis' crimes against humanity. Americans have unofficially lost their freedom of speech when they're bullied into silence for criticising Israel. It is pathetic and ludicrous to say we ever vanquished smallpox with vaccines when only 10% of the population was ever vaccinated. Glenn Detnan, AMM, BA, PhD. See, a lot of those that are clever or intelligent can see it's bullshit. If you think $1 trillion a year industry wants to keep you healthy, then fluoride is working. Most people grow out of reading fairy stories. Some people don't. WikiLeaks, IMF loan. Yeah, pretty much sums it up. Now this is interesting if real, it would seem to be, but Spain issues arrest warrant for Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu over 2010 Gaza flotilla attack. We consider it to be a provocation. We are working with the Spanish authorities to get it cancelled. I hope it doesn't get cancelled, maybe you get arrested and locked in a prison, you dirty bastard. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and 7 other former and current government officials are at risk of arrest if they set foot in Spain, after a Spanish judge effectively issued an arrest warrant for the group. It has been reported. According to the Latin American Herald Tribune, Spanish National Court Judge Jose de la Mata ordered the police and the civil guard to notify him if Mr. Netanyahu and his 6 other individuals enter the country, as their actions could see a case against them regarding a French flotilla attack in 2010 reopened. Be interesting. 60 doctors, pharmacists charged in largest US opioid prescription bust. Federal prosecutors charged 60 physicians and pharmacists Wednesday with illegally handing out opioid prescriptions in what they say is the biggest crackdown of its kind in US history. Some of the doctors are accused of trading drugs for sex, giving prescriptions for Facebook friends without proper medical exams, and unnecessarily pulling teeth to justify writing pill prescriptions. The list of indicted medical professionals includes podiatrists, orthopedic specialists, dentists, general practitioners and nurse practitioners. Prosecutors said the specialities and methods vary among the accused, but the result in every case was the same. People addicted to pain medication received dangerous amounts of opioids, including oxycodone, methadone and morphine. You can't trust anyone of them that's out there, in a place of position of so-called power. How to quickly remove uric acid crystallization from your body to prevent gout and joint pain. Gout is a type of arthritis which is characterized by ache in the joints, which intensifies. If the joints are near the big toe, it most In most cases, the pain strengthens throughout the night, and it is accompanied by heat, swelling and redness in the area. The major cause of gout and high levels of alcohol and soda drinks consumption, an injury, an infection, poor hydration, and they can lead to the deposit of uric acid in the blood, also known as hypersemia. It may also be a consequence of diet abundant in purine-rich foods and fasting and cash diets. How is uric acid produced in the body? Uric acid in the body created from the purine metabolism, which is then transferred into the kidneys, from where it is expelled from the kidneys. However, the kidneys may not be capable of process them properly. If the uric acid levels are higher than this, may result in surplus crystallization of the uric acid around the joints and trigger gout. Luckily, there are many natural methods to put an end to gout, although it is conventionally addressed with meds. A healthy lifestyle and a balanced nutrition has the power to alleviate the gout attacks and minimize their occurrences. Check out some beneficial tips below. Again, links in description if you want more information. If you've got any arthritis or gout or anything like that, have a look in the description, see if we can sort it out. Rotherham peer Lord Ahmed charged with 4 child sex offences, 18th of April 2019. Rotherham peer Lord Ahmed has appeared at court alongside his 2 brothers, charged with 4 historic child sex offences. The peer faced the further allegation of buggery against a boy under 11 when he appeared at Sheffield Crown Court Wednesday. Ahmed on East Bawtry Road, Rotherham, appeared at the lower court last month, charged with indecent assaulting the boy and 2 counts of attempted rape against a girl aged under 16 in the early 1970s. The former Labour politician would have been aged between 14 to 17 when the alleged abuse took place against the 2 complainants. So he's always been a pedo. It must be inbred in the dirty, filthy bastards. Bradford councillors warn of Asian attacks on whites. Areas of Bradford, England, are no-go zones for certain ethnic groups, and the city is heading towards disaster. Councillors have warned, citing attacks on whites in Asian areas. Bradford is considered one of the most dangerous cities in the UK, according to a YouGov poll. Councillor Vander Greenwood said that young women did not feel safe in parts of the town because of gang of young Asian men. There is a real problem of people's perception of Bradford. My daughter is 23 and she and her friends say they will not come into Bradford for a drink or night out because they say there are gangs of Asian males hanging around, Greenwood said. Bradford Council's Corporate Overview and Security Committee Chairman Arshad Hussain slammed ethnic segregation and failed integration, and he blamed political correctness for the deterioration, Bradford reported. Hussain described the situation as a horrible state of affairs in the response to the government's case review, which highlighted growing ethnic divisions published a year ago. The case review noted the regressive religions and cultural ideologies and self-censorship being applied out of fear of being labelled racist. So their plan's working really well. Bring in all these migrants and you can't call them because you'll be racist. See how they work? Australia. If we are practicing Muslims, we are above the law of the land. Not so fast, buddy. An Islamic group claiming it's exempt from Australian law has just found out it is not. 2 brothers linked to an extremist Islamic group in Sydney have been convicted of contempt of court and fined more than $100,000 after claiming they were exempt from Australian law. Daily Mail brothers Mustafa and Dia Kara Ali illegally cleared land and developed on a bush block in Sydney's northwest, claiming the Islamic spiritual group they ran on the property was exempt from Australian law. More of that sort of stuff coming next. Homelessness is just hype, says Tory Mayor candidate Shaun Bailey. There's the thick twat, thick as two short planks. Typically up his own arse so much he thinks that those on the street actually want to be on the streets. What a wanker that bloke is, and he never wants to be mayor. Well, what a shock. The Conservative candidate and for Mayor of London has said homelessness and the suffering NHS is just hype. Shaun Bailey, 48, said he wants to move beyond the hype as he shared a video of him talking with a young man about how to make London a better place. Bailey approaches the man on the street who recognised him as that Tory guy and asks black man, as a Tory, explain it please. The politicians answered by saying he wants people to be in charge of their lives and do anything they want. That's when the man called Louis points out people are homeless, people are aren't getting help. Money's going to places where it shouldn't be going. The NHS is suffering, but Bailey interrupts him to say all of that is hype. Take a good look at his face, because that thing wants to never be allowed to be mayor of London, let alone into politics, because it's just a complete and utter tosser by the looks of it. California now wants to be first state to mandate adult vaccines, criminal penalties for those who refuse. If you allow forced vaccination, it's game over. Health Impact News editor comments. In a brazen act of medical tyranny, California recently became the first state in the US where lawmakers removed religious exemptions to those opposing vaccines for their children. The bill, now signed into law, SB 277, faces legal hurdles in court next. Now legislators in California want to pass the first US adult vaccine mandate with no personal exemptions and criminal penalties for failure to comply. SB 792 would eliminate an adult's right to exempt themselves from one. Some or all vaccines are a risk-laden medical procedure. Will California soon become a medical police state? Well, from the looks of it, it already is. Samantha Morton reveals sexual abuse as child in resident care home. Actor who spent childhood in foster care and residential homes says abuse was rife in Nottingham's children's services. Yeah, Nottingham again. The BAFTA and Golden Globe winning actress Samantha Morton, who spent much of her childhood in a succession of children's homes in Nottingham, has revealed for the first time that she was sexually abused by residential care workers and said she believes abuse was rife within the city's children's services. The city, Nottingham City Council, Nottingham Criminal Cartel. In an exclusive interview with The Guardian, Morton said she had reported one particular incident in which two men jointly abused her when she was 13 to Nottingham Police and Social Services shortly after it happened, but no formal investigation was undertaken by either agency. The men were allowed to stay in their jobs while she was abruptly moved to another home. She said she was recently shocked to be told by police that her records from the time contained only a reference to frolicking rather than recording the serious child abuse allegations she made, because the police were there to cover up the paedophilia, because the police at the top are run by Freemasons, just like almost the top of every council, the executive branch, fully perverted paedophiles and Freemasons. Protests outside Notre Dame chant, homeless people need a roof too. That's a good point. Homeless campaigners have protested against the huge sums of money raised in the wake of Notre Dame fire. The blaze ripped up through the cathedral on April 15th, bringing the roof and the spire, which was dominated by the Parisian skyline for more than 850 years, crashing down. Wealthy donors placed around $1 billion, euros, 770 million pounds, to rebuild the cathedral in the 24 hours after the incident. But the figure has been slammed by some who claim the money would be better off going to people who desperately need it. Around 50 people from a French homeless association gathered today, a week after the fire, with placards which read 1 billion in 24 hours. The Times. Families destroyed by bombers. Yes. 8 Britons killed as Sri Lanka death toll reaches 290. Islamists attackers had international support, say officials. Father loses both children in rescue bid. Cancer patients hope. Grenfell indifference. Protest at museum. US oil sanctions. Pay gap mistakes. Players tackle racism. Express. Prince of Smiles. Louis turns one and Mum Kate in camera queen again. Why have we got to always have the paedophiles and the parasites in the papers all the bleeding time? Distraught Britain tells how wife and 2 children died in Sri Lanka bombing, murdered at the breakfast table. The Guardian. Jimmy White. Drink, drugs, snooker and me. Wow, they always, when they get there, must be getting a bit desperate for money, so now he's telling his life story of what a pisshead he was, I guess. Sri Lanka given warnings over blast 2 weeks ago and they took no measures to prevent them. So many lives in one day. Fear and rage follow attacks. Something's starting to smell there as well. Mirror. Here's looking at you, kid. More of the parasites. Horror in Sri Lanka. Nation broken. World shattered. This scum. Harry gets parasites again. Daniel's new bad boy. Sri Lanka horror. 3 British families torn apart. Suicide blast victims named. Metro. Bungled chances to stop carnage. See, whenever that starts to come out, you usually find out it was a planned attack and they were deliberately set down. Easter Sunday bombers murder 219 in Sri Lanka. Apology after terror warnings went unheeded. Heroic fireman is among the at least 8 British victims. Extinction Rebellion's Day at the museum. Second week of climate change protests. Sri Lanka in shock. Why did officials fail to act on warnings about terror attacks? British father pays tribute to wife, son and daughter killed in a hotel explosion. Well, probably because, like all governments, they want to keep you in fear. And if they keep you in fear, they can keep control of you. Tory MPs in Stop Boris campaign. Moderate Conservatives are finalising plans to block Johnson from a final leadership ballot. The former Foreign Secretary is a clear favourite among party members desperate to topple at PM. Grassroots revolt underway as local Tory chiefs agree to hold unprecedented vote of no confidence. Don't skip breakfast, the risk to health. My Little Lambs, a farmer's diary. Easter sunsets new temperature record. Meet the transgender receptionist who welcomes the world to Britain. Tell lies, graph. Gag order ban for NHS staff who blow whistle. Workers will not be silenced if they lift the lid on failings, promises Health Secretary. In other words, they will be silenced. One's one. MPs to tell May name departure date or face a June 12th election. Ejection. The survivors of terror attacks say government left them to rot. Typical government then, isn't it? Parish councils suffer a candidate crisis. Traffic lights forcing pedestrians to sprint. We are not really a Christian society anymore. US looks to London firm for rare metals. Daily fail. More parasite pictures. Louis' first birthday present. A toothy grin for Kate. Exposed. Britain's biggest stores use cameras on shelves to manipulate customers into spending more. Secretly filmed as you shop. British girl fled for a Sri Lanka bomb, then was killed by second. Waste of paper star. Mixing it up, your festive guy. Peter's having a laugh. Tackle our fab puzzles. Louis' birthday haircut. TV quiz star, I'm dying of AIDS. Eggheads, CJ reveals secret battle. Well, cannabis oil cures it, the Bob Beck device cures it. Good nutrition would certainly help, but if you're not prepared to even do a search in this time of massive internet awareness of things, if you're not even prepared to do a search for yourself, who knows? Financial Times. Alarm raised in Sri Lanka before attacks, then they did nothing, so that's a typical thing these days. Barclays cracked down on bonus to brace defence against Bramson. Activist seeks board seat. Staley fights for investment bank cost cut to boost returns. Washington tightens oil sanctions on Iran in effort to block export markets. Lack of savings stacks the cards against Britain. The usual crap and fear and doom and gloom in the shit sheets. So, what we got here then? Oh, teacher. Whoever answers my next question can go home. One boy throws his bag out of the window. Teacher, who just threw that? Boy, me, and I'm going home now. When you're dead, you don't know that you're dead. It's everyone else that suffers. Same is the case when you're stupid. And we all know a lot of them. When I was a kid, you could go to a corner shop with little money and come out with 2 Cokes, 3 Dairy Milks and a magazine. Nowadays, CCTV's everywhere. See you tomorrow.